What's up, everybody? It's Paul here. Just talking today in this new year about the foundation of business and sales and leadership. And I think one of these huge things is identifying your ideal client, your persona, or avatar. They're all basically the same thing, right? So, socially, and social psychology point of view, how do people buy and do things, right? So you need to understand who that person is before you can sell a product or a service to them. I think you need to understand how old they are, whether they're male or female, what their demographic is. And maybe the demographic is financial or education. What kind of business do they have? Right? In medical, is it a certain profession? Like, am I selling to pediatricians? Am I selling to orthopedic surgeons? Am I selling to cardiologists? What do I know about these people and what makes them tick? If it's on the other side and it's a B2B play, tell me about this business owner and their level in the business and where they are. So it's the CEO of a company, it's the purchasing manager, it's the building manager, whatever the case may be. They have a certain role in the business and they're measured in certain ways. So how are they measured, right? What's important to them for their success, and how do you identify who reports to them? Because then you can influence it up and down, right? So say you find it's a 3-tier sale, C-level, mid-level, and entry level. You could enter and the lowest hanging fruit, which would be a low-level person, and then move your way up to a mid-level manager, and then up to the C-level, right? And you're influencing up and down, so you understand what their challenges are daily and what they do in their job. Do you also understand what ethics are important to them, or what they want, or what they hate? And then what their biggest pain points are, right? Because that's really the objection, the challenge that you're dealing with. Like, what do they deal with daily that makes their job difficult? And maybe your solution or your product is that perfect thing, right? What do they ultimately want? What's their long-term goal? I want to be, a multi-million-dollar company, or I want to sell more of these through e-commerce channels. Great. Who is your ideal customer, right? Who is that person that's going to buy your product? If you don't know that, then it's going to be difficult for you to get to market, right? Where do they shop, right? Where do they get their information? Are they which channels are they on? Are they Google? Are they like print better? Or do they like LinkedIn or TikTok, or based on their age, it could be, Snapchat or, Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media you're looking at, Twitter, right? Understanding who they are and where they're getting the information is really important. So I think that's really what you need to identify when you're identifying your ideal client. Who are they? Where do they live? What do they look like? What kind of business are they in? How are they measured? Where they are in the chain of command? What does their day-to-day look like? If you know these challenges, then it makes it a lot easier for you to have a conversation that says, I have a solution to your issue that you're facing, or you just know it in the back of your head. So when you go into that conversation, they tell you, here's my issue. I'm having trouble with AR, accounts receivable. Great. In the back of your head, you're not going to be like, well, I have a solution. You're like, okay, that's great. And you know that you have trouble with your accounts receivable. What else is another issue that you're facing right now that possibly I could help with? And maybe your solution is offering financial loans or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, if you know in the back of their head, like, so tell me more about the challenges that you're facing. What are the problems that you're facing right now in your day-to-day practice and what you're doing? The ethics side of it, I guess, is just understanding what's important to them and how they make decisions. Maybe they only buy from veteran-owned companies like myself, or primarily female-owned companies, or I don't know. Trying to think outside the box here. What else it would be? What else would what do they like? What do they dislike? What are their long-term desires, and where do they find their information? Those are the real key things that you need when you're prospecting or trying to build that perfect person that you want to call on. There might be some shoulders to it. Some people might touch it, but end of the day, that's the high-level overview of who your ideal client is. And once you know that, then you can build your marketing. You can build your pitches, your leave behinds, whatever, your content marketing to that person. So is it the person that doesn't want to work with IT, doesn't have the IT background and they want to outsource it? Great. So now I'm not an IT person, right? Or I'm not a social media person or whatever the case may be. And now you can go in there and talk to them like, okay, who does it for you now? I outsource it. Okay, why now? Why do you outsource it? Because I don't really have the acumen for it, or I'm too busy running the business. I don't want to work in it, right? And that's really the key. I don't want to work in the business. I want to work on it. Anyway, my 2 cents for today. The key takeaway for this would be understand who you're trying to target. So think about sales as just really, or business development or leadership, right? I want the ideal candidate. Who is the ideal candidate for this position? They have this quality. Or my business, I'm trying to grow, and I need these kind of people for me to talk to so I grow my business. Great. And then you delineate it down to the sales guy, and the sales guy is like, or salesperson says, okay, who's my ideal target? What's the dollar amount? How much are they going to spend? How are they measured? What's their position? Where do they work? What's their ideal person we want to sell to? All right, and that person changes. It could change with the business. But ideally, if you're building a business or you're building a pipeline or you're trying to fill a role, it's who's that ideal person? Who is that avatar? What do they look like? Realistically, what do they look like? And what do they like or dislike? Anyway, that's my 2 cents. So make sure you build that foundation first, and it's who is that ideal client? Who is that avatar? Who is that persona, right? Paul, plumbing guy, if I'm selling to plumbing people, this is a plumber that they work in a family business. They are 35 to 40 years old, 45 years old, whatever. They have 2 kids. They live in the suburbs. They have trouble with, they're trying to grow their business, but they're only one person. They need some processes in place so they can do that, and then they can do it, and then they need someone to answer the phones for them and take care of it. So you see what I'm doing? I'm building out a process of who that person is and what would be their ideal situation and person that would be. So that's the key takeaway. Learn who that person is, know who they are, and then be able to regurgitate it when people ask. It's kind of like giving an elevator pitch, right? Like, who is your ideal person you're looking for? Who are you trying to talk to? Who is be the right connection? So anyway, have a great day. Make sure you ring the bell every day. Doc Abrams out. Cheers.